Hey, good day. This is Greg Lewis, City Manager in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Welcome to Lebanon in Depth. We're really happy about this show because this is something we're very proud of Citizen Academy. We had decided in talking over the groups and talking with community members that one of the ways we should be engaged, in so many different ways we should be engaged, but one of those critical things was let's put together a Citizen Academy, and that's what we've done. And we had our first one this year, and we're looking forward for many more to come. And so today we have our guests, graduates of our first academy, and we have our Deputy City Manager, Paula Mayville, who has been instrumental in establishing the academy and following on and making sure the project worked and putting all a myriad of things together. And I think it was the highlight of my year as City Manager was the opportunity to observe and participate and be a part of the academy. And I just enjoyed it immensely. And Paula, I know you feel likewise about the Citizen Academy. So why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and the Citizen Academy portion, and then we'll talk to her and we'll bring our guests in.
Sure. So I'm Paula Mayville, Deputy City Manager, and we started Citizens Academy. We started discussing Citizens Academy in 2012. And something that Lebanon has never had the experience of doing before, something honestly I've never even really knew that existed. And Greg, having the experience that he had, brought it to the attention that it might be a really good thing to bring to Lebanon. So we started doing a little bit of research about how they're done and the types of things that get studied, started pulling a program together, and it was slow going at first, but we pulled our first 3 classes together at the end of 2013. And included 4 more classes at the beginning of 2014, all different topics, and it was just a real inspiration to see the departments take part the way that they did and bring forth information and wanting to actually lead discussions with everybody. We capped the participation at 30 to try to keep it just to something that was manageable. And in our first course, we had 26 participants, so it was very exciting. So we're looking forward to coming up into 2015, where we're going to be expanding it a little bit.
It's so exciting, and now we get the best part is we want to really thank you, members of our academy who have graduated and for attending, and you're kind of representing the whole class, because there was a lot of wonderful people there, and I'd like to have you introduce yourselves for Lebanon and tell a little bit about maybe where you're at right now, and a little bit about what triggered you to apply for the Citizen Academy. And we'll start with you, and then we'll move on to from Tia to we'll move on around the interview. So Tia, why don't you start off your name and that'd be good.
I'm Tia Liu, and I currently live in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. I was raised in the Lebanon side of town. I raised 3 children here, and my husband and I both work at Hypertherm. I'm an accountant. I've spent a lot of busy years raising my children, and I've always wanted to be more involved in the local government. I've always wanted to be more informed when I voted, and I just jumped at the chance when I found out about this. I don't even know if there was a record on who applied first, but I didn't even hesitate, and I just made sure it would work with my schedule, and it was all that I wanted and more.
That's really neat. Okay, well, Faye?
I'm Faye Grierson, and I grew up in Meriden, so this was a chance to get some information about the big city, which Lebanon was, for those of us growing up down there. Yeah, and I've lived in Lebanon since 1999. I have 2 teenage sons, and I homeschool, but one of them plays for Lebanon, soccer for Lebanon School District, so we've got a lot of town connections. I also work for Twin Pines Housing Trust, which is affordable housing nonprofit here in White River. I saw the ad and thought, I knew I was going to be looking to get back into working part-time, and thought it was a great chance to network and meet some of the departments. It was that and so much more. I mean, I really enjoyed doing it, and so signed on for the second group of classes. And
that's great. That's so nice. It's so nice. And everyone had a story that participated in the academy. And I had enjoyed so much knowing. It was the networking thing you mentioned, was the network and to meet people, that, in our area that we would perhaps never have, we might not have met. Although we see a lot of people, we might not have met had it been not for the Citizen Academy. In my hands here for the public, I have the Bible, which is the Citizen Academy. This is pretty thick, and it's the City of Lebanon Citizen Academy. We have our own. We adopted our own little logo, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
So tell a little bit about the logo and we're going to show the website as we do our show today.
Yeah.
So it's up. It's perpetual. We're kind of a perpetual thing.
Yeah.
And when we go through our next round, it'll continue, and then we're going to archive. So it's going to be a real historical thing because it's going to continue, and it's going to build. And that we hope to have some events where we invite all participants that have attended the academy back to events that we think that'll be kind of the community building exercise. So any comments on the building of the website and the logo and the things that went into it? I mean, there was a lot of work that went into this thing.
Yeah, thankfully the departments wanted to do everything that they wanted to do and really, make this full scale because they were instrumental in presenting information to us to be able to put together the binder. As far as the logo, one thing that the city's been working on since Greg has come is more of a branding. So we have little symbols all over the place that we really want you, when you see it, you're going to know, that, oh, that's the logo for the Lebanon Citizens Academy. When you see that little exclamation point that, it's a Leb alert. When you see the little newspaper, you know that you can subscribe and be a part of Leb News. It's all part of our branding and getting information out and trying to really move forward our citizen engagement. So, yeah, that's basically, the website is a little sparse, I want to say, right at the moment because we're just, kind of stuck in limbo land. But there is information in there about the academy itself, not so much coming up into 2015, but what happened in 2013 and 2014. But please stay tuned because that will be getting updated.
Mm-hmm. And you can get a taste of it because you'll go on there and they still have the video leakage. So we were really, really great to partner with CATV, and we've had some video leakage of portions of the classes, so one could link it up.
Yep.
And each one of these classes that were done, there were things that were, I was surprised. I learned as much as anyone, I think. I didn't know some things at all. Because you think, you've been around so long in city and county government, like myself, but I learned much. Every time I was there, I learned something. It's rather amazing, some of the things we learned. I know that, we probably should talk about some of these classes and what stood out or what jumps out at you. As far from your perspective, Faye, there's no favorites. We will put who's your favorite, but maybe what's a kind of interesting thing that you saw during one of the classes?
There were a couple of things that stood out, and one was I really appreciated the resumes that the department heads gave. It was just fun to see the background, where people had come from to get to those positions. Mm-hmm. And they were there in person, but it gave a human face and background to each of them. I liked the diversity. I loved it when Paul Coates came in from Recreation and had us actually up and moving. Mm-hmm. Each class was different in that way that, somewhere we listened, we saw, maybe photos. We went out and looked at the equipment for the police and the fire. The other one that stood out was the library. When they came in and they talked, because there were so many different things going on. And I think of myself as a pretty sophisticated user of the library. But they started talking about the magazine subscriptions that are available, the genealogy help you can get, the new foreign language program that's available. They have that tech program they're doing now where the middle school students can go, and I think they're partnering with the Montshire. And kids are lined up. I went to the first one just to see what was happening, mm-hmm. and it was really neat. Every time I see one of those ads, it's like, send it out to everyone you know, and go see what's going on. So that
was neat. And I came in too cold for Paul Coates in the recreation mm-hmm. one. And we started doing the game thing.
Right.
I thought, whoa, I can't do this.
I know.
I'm not good at games. I'm good at talking, but I'm not good at games.
It was.
But he's just, oh, we're all going to do these things. And then
Yeah.
pretty fun, we're
Up
all
here doing
this.
it, exactly.
And people are going around. And these games, though, were not the kind of games that were where you had to have a certain skill set. It was really a game. It was so interesting how he designed that, which I think he does. I think that group at the recreation department, they do this. That's how they do. They do adult and youth, and they have a way of and it's just very professional. It's that they were able to manipulate this, but they were able to get us play this
Engage
game.
everyone.
Engage
Yes.
us, and pretty soon you felt a little more comfortable
Yep.
about it.
Yeah.
So that was really great. Tina, any things that strike you in terms of the experience you had yourself in courses?
So I'm a big fan of history. So just the very first couple of classes, I was so impressed with some of the residents that have lived here longer than I have, and the stories that they shared that I wasn't aware of. I'd never heard of East Lebanon before. The West Lebanon rivalry, how certain things came to be, that was fascinating. I really enjoyed the city clerk presentation because I loved the historical aspect of all the records and everything they're doing to preserve all of those records. Getting to take a tour of the vault was pretty exciting.
Down to the vault.
Down to the
God
vault.
knows there's a
Just to
vault.
see, the efforts that are being put forth to preserve all these important records for the history of our city. I also really liked the fire department, learning about how the local towns participate in supporting the fire, take care of any fires. I didn't realize that we did that, and I felt very community-oriented, and I just felt, that was a really great idea how they do that. And those were probably the two big things that stood out for me.
That's nice. Paula, from your perspective, and we're doing this the first time around, what were some things that jump out at you about the experience of doing it?
The actual interaction. I was really, really, really pleased that, because sometimes you go to meetings and they have to prod you, like, come on, people, I know you must have a question kind of thing. It wasn't like that at all. It was just so interactive, and so many people were actually really looking forward to participating. And so it was, I really, really liked it. But I too, I learned a lot. I really did, because when you're at City Hall, you don't get out to all these different places, that are actually part of the city. The players, but you don't fully understand and know everything. So I was really excited with the library, and they have their new tech person, and so moving into the digital age was what their subject was, and they really, really, really are. It's fantastic, and yes, we had a really good time with Paul's team building games, and putting together our presentation, the City Management 101. When you do stuff every day, sometimes it's really hard to articulate to others what it is you're about. But I enjoyed doing that, and I enjoyed the part that everybody played in that. So yeah.
It's really nice, And for me, the city clerk, let's see, the presenters were Sandy Allard and
Kristen Keniston.
And she has now moved to another position because our
Deputy.
And now second, and they did a remarkable job, because I was kidding, this is so dry. And not at all. I mean, they were incredible. They had put such effort into it. They had such detail, and they delivered it in such a well delivered manner to the group. They really have some kudos from in terms of that level of quality that they gave as presenters to this subject. And I just was got a real kick out of that. That just kind of like, because I always wonder how people will take to things, whether they'll be, is this going to hold people's attention? Because when you are in front of a class, and you always wonder, when the class's eyes are going to roll, and you're going to wander away, and you're going to have some sleepers, and the attention is gone. There was such in the moment behavior by our members of the academy. I thought they were really in the moment and really involved. And I like your comment about learning from those who have lived here quite a while. We didn't plan like do any social engineering as to what the class would look like. I mean, it was really those who self-identified and decided for themselves to make a choice to do this. But there was quite a slice of this demographic and section of Lebanon, and there were different generations in the classes. There was those who have lived here for a very long time. There were those who just arrived here. There was those who have been here for quite a while, but so you have the just early arrivers. You have the people that have a lifetime and generations of being here, and then you had people here that are in the middle ground, the 5-6 years, and a lot of times it's professional related or employment related or vocational related. I thought that was a great. I learned a lot. I loved listening to the members of the class. And the questions were asked, where I thought were tremendously good questions. The other thing I really liked, I liked the police bringing the whole police. It was like they brought their because of course maybe I watched too many police shows, but they're quite a crew because they come in and the chief Smith, Gary Smith. He brought his, all his captains, his, lieutenants, the people who are in charge of these various and sundry things. And here these guys come in, and they're a remarkable group. And they really give me a sense of well-being that I have these people, because you could, body languages and how karma, feelings about, emotional intelligence, and this is what. And here we have these people that are taking very difficult jobs, difficult situations where most of them say, "Oh, let me out of it. I don't want to be involved in what some of the things they get involved with." But that was really an incredible array to bring them all in there, and they're all in the room. And I thought that was marvelous. And then the other thing was the fire when they took us out to the back, and we're out there, and it's kind of dark, but the lights are on. And here's this array of
all the
firefighters
gear, all the gear laid out.
What did you think of that?
That for me, my father was a volunteer fire department and still is in Maine now. So it was sort of in some ways familiar territory, but it's just incredible to see the training that both departments talk about and go through. And I think it's just, again, so often our interaction with police or fire is in moments of crisis. So it's really nice to have that chance to meet them, to hear them talk, and as you said, the human face on it. The whole interaction is different and is different going forward. You know these people, and you don't, have the same sense of, separation of, oh no, it's the police. It's like, oh, this is the person I met, or I recognize this face even if I don't remember the name. I thought that was a really, a great piece of that.
Another thing I can't help say is Andrew Gaspray. Andrew Gaspray is our planning and zoning director, and he has he's kind of out here on another planet on some of this theories of planning and future communities, how your community should look and what it should look like. And he has a bent toward academia. He has taught in college, and he's got a PhD in engineering. And I think he went up to France to get it. So the guy is, that's my uncle would say, he went to France to get his PhD. What's that? But he presented this thing that I think was kind of a high up kind of planning discussion. And I remember one of the younger members of the academy afterwards he came over to me and said, "Where'd you get him?" Because but that was such an eclectic role from rolling into classes to the next class, so it wasn't like a cookie cutter thing. It was a real role, and you have different reactions to that field, but there is, I thought, just an incremental gain by having this different look and this different attitude and this different profession, and they're playing at a different level. And while some of it is maybe unfathomable in some of that stuff, but I just like the effect of a process where we try to have an intellectual, basically immerse yourself in a city when you don't normally engage in that. So I don't know. That's a feel I had. I don't know about your sense of. there's some places that have like immersion experiences where you immerse into a different culture, and the city has a culture, and it's that's one thing I thought about this, that why would you go there? Well, you can actually immerse yourself for a period of time without having to live there into a city experience.
Well, the airport was a good example of that
Excellent,
too,
yeah.
because
What
when
do you think about that?
we got on the, I mean, when we got in the vans and the things, and we drove around on the runways, I mean, I thought, when else would you get a chance
Yeah,
to do
exactly.
that? To see the airport
Legally.
that we've all, right, legally, yeah, that we've all seen. And it's a little freaky, actually. I mean, I don't care if they're clearing it through everything.
All right,
We're
is
still,
the plane going to come
right,
down? We're, out
we're
in the
still
runway,
crossing the
in a-
runway. Exactly.
In a big bus
yeah.
looking thing.
But what a way to see that and to understand the importance of the airport, all that's going on up there that you don't necessarily know. I thought that was another good example. You know, you mentioned the planning, and we all took a pin and put it on the map, showing. You talk again about the diversity of the class. When you looked at where everyone was from, it was scattered, you know, all over the town of Lebanon.
Yeah, and you know, and it kind of speaks of Lebanon, doesn't it? The academy experience and the academy of participants and subject matter kind of speaks of Lebanon, because people, since I'm not from this area, sometimes people from the other areas I've lived in will ask me, well, what's Lebanon like? And then I will try to describe what Lebanon is like.
Right.
And I find it is a complex place, because if I said, well, this is a little small city that's in a beautiful setting, and it's you get up and it's like a picture card, and no, I can't say that. I mean, that's a piece of it, but that's a slice of it. But I can't just say, well, that's like we're labeled that is what we're doing. The other day we got named again in one of those polls, I don't know, third most livable small town or something in it, and they just started describing things in the descriptor, and I looked at it. Well, they had some of those things were right, but there's so much more. So I don't know your reaction, Paul. I know you served us in the capacity of the city for a significant period of time.
Yeah, long enough. That's the thing that amazes me, is that when you're here and you live in this community, for me it feels like it's grown, but it doesn't feel the way that some other people describe it. But it's so true. We really, we have a diversity among business that some other small towns would never, or small cities would never be able to experience. We have uses from Dartmouth Hitchcock, which is a huge anchor in the city, to so much vastness in technological things that it's, we have industry, we have the changing face of industry, which is now kind of more in the office setting, not so much manufacturing, but with the high-tech stuff. So, we definitely, in the culture that we have based around our active lifestyles and the amount of work that recreation puts in to ensure that the quality of life here is phenomenal, and I'm happy that people outside of us recognize it.
Yeah, it's really nice. I think maybe we'll discuss a little bit about, we've talked about it, the experience itself, and now it's kind of the experience is over with, and we've gone through the process, and then the question is, what do we do with it? What do we do with the outcomes of that process, and where do we go with that? And I think it's a choice-making thing that every person, if you complete an experience, then the choices become your choices as to what you would choose to follow this experience. I know that's the way I am when I go through any kind of intense experience. I come out of it, and then I'm thinking, well, now what? And what am I going to do with it? Should I come back and change my whole life? Should I start doing so? And I used to drive people crazy when I was less mature, you might say. That I would go to things like experiences like this, and I would come back and drive everybody in the office crazy, because I would come back with all these ideas to change everything. I would try, and then everybody would say, "Oh, he's just back from a conference, and he's just trying to change us all again." So we're like, but I stopped that. I learned to take deep breaths and not go back and try to change everybody. It never worked. So from your perspective, we'll go over to you, Tia. From your perspective, what are you going to do with the outcome, the experience of the academy? And I think this can really be simple, complex, or other, whatever.
Well,
Your thoughts?
I started using it right away. I would share all the stories every morning after the class, the night before. My family got to hear it, my coworkers got to hear it, because anything that just stood out as being something I never knew before, I really wanted to share, and I wanted to get the information out to people. I want to be more involved. I want to be involved in some of the committees that really seemed very interesting to me, and now I kind of feel like I can do it a little bit better informed.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice, and that there's a multiplier effect. They say those who study the issue that when you have an experience or you have this, either negative or positive, that there is such a multiplier effect because we never realize how many people we contact and live with and share pass the information. We're very social. It's a social world we live in. We're social people. We pass it on. How about you?
I would say the same too. In terms of sharing, it was dinner conversation the next day, every time. It also changed in terms of, and I think the very first class you set up, one of the things we were supposed to do was sign up for Leb alerts and some of the things that are already in place. And having done that, I find myself looking and using that information, but also because of the Public Works visit that we did, I felt really comfortable when there was an issue. I live at the top of Slayton Hill Road. Lots of things going on there. A big challenge for the city. I felt like I could email the Public Works director and say, "Hey, could we get could this happen?" And I had an email back within hours, and the problem was solved. And it was just, I would not have done that. I'd have griped, I'd have complained. Can you believe this? Instead, I just was able to take positive action, and I talk about that this course gives you the contacts and the confidence, I think, to use the resources that are there for us. We're the citizens.
Yeah, we want to. It's kind of a demystification process. Everything is institutionalized. But we don't want a siloed institution to be a city. City should be a community. It should be horizontal. It should be more engaging. Everyone has a role in a city, whatever in whatever capacity as a resident or as someone who provides public service. And so we do want to do that. And we have the last couple minutes. It's just the time goes fast when you're talking about something you enjoy so much. I guess, Paula, why don't we talk about the future a little bit and where the Citizen Academy might be going?
Sure. Just going to refer to my notes here a little bit. So like I said, the Academy began as a 2-part series that totaled 7 courses. 2015 is being designed as a 12-week program. So we're actually going to be adding a few courses to get out for that 12 weeks. That we're going to open applications in mid-December, close them probably sometime right around mid-January, begin in February and end in April. So it'll be once a week like it was, 2-hour sessions. And again, participants would be provided with a certificate of completion. So we'll be reaching out to departments and figuring out what more is to come, and we'll get it all pulled together and be on our way.
And in our last minute or so, we just want to encourage everybody to think about. You might want to look into this, talk to some of the people that both talk to Paula, talk to people that have been in Citizen Academy. If you don't know, Paula we have some of our Academy members will be a reference to just candidly express to the people who might want to explore interest. It's a commitment. It was a big commitment for you both and for the members of the Academy because it's a busy world. You have families and work and you have things going on, and then to take the time to commit to a Thursday night. Well, it's a 2-hour experience, but it's becomes part of your life, but it sounds like from your perspective, there's quite a bit to gain from taking that opportunity.
Definitely worth it.
Yeah. So, and I see this in the future as to be continuing. I think this becomes the future of citizen involvement, engagement, civics in the true best sense of words in the city to do this in our community. And and people have opportunity, just as you say, share with your friends and families, and share with your neighbors, and members of your workplace, and members of your church or whatever organization you belong to. And then you can move up the ladder to just participate more by sending emails, by signing up for Web Alert. And we're encouraging everyone. So we're still having our drive to sign up for Web Alert. Ask questions and ask Web on the website. The website's a beautiful tool. Send letters. Then you go up the next process. Come to public events. Come to the walkabouts we do, the community engagements we do.
And I just really want to say that I really appreciate sitting down with you two today, because the thing that Citizens Academy, like the goals we had talked about, met just with the two of you, because we wanted somebody to walk away thinking, I'd really like to be more involved. And then we wanted other people to walk away and saying, there is a humanistic side to this, and I know I can reach out. I can get answers that I'm looking for without, sitting in my chair wondering, how am I supposed to take care of this? Mm-hmm. So in each of you, we got a little bit, and that's great.
So I want to thank you. I want to thank you both, Atia. I want to thank you for coming and joining the show today and sharing your experiences of the Academy. I want to thank all the members of the Academy who you represent for their willingness to participate in the Academy and be the first class, kind of our guinea pigs.
Right.
And we look forward to our upcoming one in 2015. Yep. Please, if those are out here watching the show today, take a moment, go onto the website, look up Citizen Academy. You'll find it in the city manager's page. You'll find it, and you take a look at the videos and ask us questions and get involved. That's it for today. Once again, the City of Lebanon's residents have stepped up, got engaged. We hope the city should do likewise and be reciprocal and step up and be engaged with the people who we serve, which are the residents of Lebanon. Have a great day. It's a beautiful summer.